It's April 3rd, and we're here in Washington, D.C. making another one of our Tea Party Guides to Washington videotapes. Today we are doing the Embassy Row area, and these are embassies. And this is actually what most people are referring to when they say the Embassy Row traffic circle. It's actually called Sheridan Circle after a general, I think a Civil War general. And this is a statue in the center of the circle, Sheridan Circle, and there's a park near here, near where Chris Wallace and David Brock and Anthony Podesta and Morton Kondracki all live, called Sheridan Kalorama Park, and the neighborhood's called Kalorama. This is the Irish Embassy. On the corner you can see the green, white, and orange flag beside the European Union flag, which is blue with gold stars. And Greece is down there, kind of on the other side of the cherry tree. What is funny is that today is April 3rd, and April 3rd is the primary day in both Maryland and D.C. I don't know how they happen to make them coincide, but Sheridan actually had all kinds of weeds growing out of his concrete or his marble. It's actually a very pleasant circle, except for the traffic noise. It has benches, actually some built-in benches. You can see them there in the marble, and there's no one here, unlike DuPont Circle, which is much larger and is a very short, like 10-minute walk away. So a person can come over here and, except for the traffic noise, enjoy reading a book. It's about 3 in the afternoon. Anyway, so it's primary day, and I was thinking of doing this video today anyway, but I got here and this clinched it for me. There are Ron Paul signs, homemade ones. Here's one that just says Paul, all up and down Massachusetts Avenue in Embassy Row. So I guess if you are using Embassy Row to get from point A to point B, there you have it. You would be seeing Ron Paul. Anyway, here's some little sculptural detail. Here's some lion's heads. Looks like they probably, there's some abandoned NAACP posters just trashing the joint up. Anyway, looks like they spray water, and this is a fountain in a pool, but I guess because it's April, they're still turned off. Anyway, what this tape is going to consist of, and it may actually have 2 or 3 parts, because it's a pretty day, and I may just use this as an excuse to stay here for an hour or so, is we're going to walk along Embassy Row and show it all to you. And you can do more than walk along it or look at this videotape if you want. One of the projects of the Officers' Wives Club in the DC area has for some time been to organize this embassy tour, and you buy a ticket for like $20 or something, and half a dozen or a dozen embassies will have participated, and you'll be able to go in them and go through a lot of their public rooms, sometimes big churches and mosques along the way too. Anyway, here's another Ron Paul sign. I don't know how many of these we're going to see as we go all the way up. There's the circle again. I would say this is light to moderate traffic for this circle. I'm going to cross here in the crosswalk. It's a pedestrian crosswalk. That's what those white stripes are. And see if the car actually slows down for me. It did. Amazing. They don't always do that. Anyway, we have really good light today. So we're going to make several of these tapes. We may end up at Hillary Clinton's $3 million home, which is just off a side street up here. And part of the reason for this tape too is that I made a video of David Brock's house in Kalorama, Lily White, Kalorama, where David Brock of Media Matters, who spits at the Tea Party and calls everybody racist all the time, but he chooses to live in a neighborhood where the only black people are either to help or the investors. I had made a video of his neighborhood couple, and one of his actual house had disappeared, so I need to go back and make another one. This is very common in Embassy Row. There's always an embassy completely under construction. This is kind of de rigueur now in DC and maybe other places too. if you're doing anything where you're removing asbestos or lead paint, which means if you're doing anything to any building that's older than 1978, you have to tint it because you can't let the lead paint chips affect the public. Adds thousands of dollars to any kind of construction. You may or may not be able to read this, and they may or may not want me to come up there. This is the Embassy of Haiti. Lots of these embassies are kind of turn-of-the-century Beaux-Arts buildings. Most of them are probably worth between $10 and $20 million. So, if they simply sold them and then leased or bought the same amount of space in a much cheaper, more racially and economically mixed and integrated neighborhood farther east in DC, they would walk away with tens of millions of dollars that they could use to provide food and medical care for their people, or reduce their taxes, or send them to college in the West, or something. Give incentives to businesses to relocate to their country. Nobody ever does that, though. No third world country ever gives up a posh embassy in a posh neighborhood in order to acquire some capital. And there are very few of them that couldn't acquire probably around $10 million just by trading one of these buildings for the same size and probably much newer building farther away from all those embassies in a